Well, let's go back to talk a little bit more about Nathan Cleverley and what this last 48 hours has been like for him. We can talk to his dad and trainer, Vince. How are you, Vince?
I'm okay, thank you. Very well.
Yeah, well, so what have you made of this extraordinary couple of days?
Well, putting this way, Nathan's a total professional, so he'll handle it. There's no problem at all. I know we got a new opponent now, Oleksiy Kulwinski. We have seen him on the net sparring boxing Braehmer, and when Braehmer beat him in the 11th round, I think it was. So we know what he's like, and we plan well ahead. So it's all right. He's all right. Fair play.
But 2 days ago, he was preparing to fight Braehmer. Then for most of today, he was thinking that Tony Bellew was going to be his opponent, and now it's a different opponent again. Yeah,
well, to be honest, Nathan will take it all in his stride, because during the training period, which you are doing in the 10 weeks of training, we thought Braehmer might be doing this, to be honest, and we sparred with a couple of orthodox boys, so his sparring's all right to fight orthodox opponents, southpaws, so I think we've taken care of all angles, to be honest.
What do you think, Vince, about what happened today at the press conference? Is there a sense now for you and for Nathan that there was a lot of needless energy expended there today?
To be honest, I think it was a bit foolhardy by Bellew to even phone up Frank and won the fight. To be honest, I can't understand him doing it. Yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary energy involved in it. Yes, to be honest.
But Vince, in an ideal world, you don't want to see not just your son, but you don't want to see the fighter you're in charge of, getting up in arms and having to be controlled and restrained by security and getting all hepped up and sort of you don't want to see your fight. You don't want to see any fighters doing it. So that's I think more what we mean. Do you think that perhaps in an ideal world you didn't really need that level of confrontation today?
Well, to be honest, no, you don't like to see it, but then again, it's part of the show. You're an experienced guy, and I think it was a lot of it was done for public purposes as well. I just think it was just one of those things. It wasn't tweeted, to be honest. It was all right. Yeah.
And again, Vince, when did you actually find out that you were fighting the Polish fella Kuziemski?
To be honest, I was in the gym, and a guy from, I think it was Mike Foamy from the BBC, he said, "What do you think of the latest news?" I said, "Pardon?" He said, "What do you think of the latest news? Nate's got a different opponent."
That would be you, Mike, was it?
That
bothering
me,
Vince
yes.
in the gym.
Yes.
So that's when you found out.
and that's how I found out. I didn't have a text from Frank or Dean or nothing. But it's one of those things where Nate will just go on with a job. He beat whoever's put in front of him. He's a true professional, and he'll do the business on Saturday night for the country and Wales.
You were saying to me earlier today, Vince, that with the behaviour of Tony Bellew at the press conference, that you might just, in a sense, have a walk for the first couple of rounds and just let him blow himself out. Will you have a similar strategy against this guy Kuziemski, in the sense that he might not be coming here in 100% shape as well?
We'll have a look at him now on YouTube. We'll have a little sort out tomorrow. Me and Nate will have a look at him, and then we'll decide the plan from tomorrow onwards. But no matter what Nathan decides how to fight this guy, he'll beat him. There's no doubt about that.
Vince, are you a bit concerned though, and I am a little bit, about Nathan's performance last year? The guy when he beat Murat, the unbeaten guy, brilliant, and then a couple of months later, late replacement, the guy Mohammadi, it just didn't happen that night. Are you not concerned that will happen again? Are you confident that will not happen again?
I'm 1,000% confident, Steve, that won't happen to Nathan again, because there was a couple of reasons why that happened as well. And another thing, people are forgetting how good more media is.
And how awkward, yeah, okay.
And he's a very underrated boxer, let me tell you. And I think in a couple of months, the more media will prove how good he is, to be honest. Yeah.
So what were those reasons then, Vince? Is it just that he couldn't get himself motivated at the time?
Well, to be honest, he thought he was fighting a guy called Andreas Lakatos, and he's 36 years of age. And Nathan, unprofessional for a change. He just finished his studies, just went to uni, and things wasn't quite right in the training camp. He thought he was just fighting a 36-year-old static opponent. And then in steps a 26-year-old guy like Mo Meady, who was an excellent boxer, to be honest. And the pressure got to him a bit. And also, what a lot of people are forgetting is that De Gale was on the same bill with Paul Smith. And there was a lot of booing coming in the crowd when they showed pictures of De Gale getting ready in the dressing room to fight Paul Smith up in Liverpool.
It was a strange atmosphere, wasn't it? I agree with you there. As the rounds progressed, it was a little bit muted. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and that did affect Nathan one hell of a lot, to be honest, and he won't have that on Saturday night.
Well, listen, Vince, wish him lots of luck from us.
I will. He sat by you now. He's sat in the bed. I'm going to listen.
Oh.
Thank
But
you, Vince.
he's all right,
Thanks,
and
Vince.
he's with the business. Thanks a lot, anyway.
Good, we're pleased. Thank
Nice
you.
to talk
All right.
to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's Vince Cleverly, Nathan's dad and trainer. And
Telling the truth.
yeah, well, absolutely. But does it make it difficult to focus? I mean, you know, if you're focused on a particular fighter and you've then got you've had a 24 hours like this, and all of a sudden this guy that you're going to face, potentially, he could be a tricky customer.
Yeah, I mean, there are two strands of the focus. One is on a fight, and the second one is on the particular opponent. And I think Vince was, very astute there. From the outset, they've looked at Braehmer's past history. He pulled out of his previous defence just after Christmas at exactly the same time with a stomach illness at that stage. And so they've looked at that and thought, let's prepare for a big fight generally. It's very difficult to do, but that's the way professionals have to work. If we look at the number of fights that we've talked about on this show in the past 4 or 5 years since we've been running 5 Live Boxing that have been postponed or completely cancelled, it runs deep into double figures.
I mean, this fight itself was meant to take place on something like the 2nd of April. We had a 5 Live gig on the 2nd of April to cover this fight first time round. It got pushed back from then.
And as far as the media are concerned, I mean, it's funny because we were watching it on Sky Sports News a little bit earlier on, and happy to plug the opposition. And saying these are great pictures, the Bellew and Cleverly having a go at each other, slagging each other off, swearing on microphone, kind of nightmare for Sky. But then you put up the caption saying, pay-per-view. Buy this fight, and you're thinking people will be picking the phones up and saying, "Oh yeah, this looks like it'll be tasty."
It was almost difficult to remember that there was another grudge match on
Absolutely.
the bill.
Well,
Suddenly,
we'll talk about that
the grudge match
in just a second. Because but what effect will that have? Do you think on Sky?
I'll be absolutely honest with you. I know Vince is saying there he'll be calm, but I mean Nathan went quite vigorously. He was being restrained by one of the 2 regular guys that were at ringside all of Frank Warren's shows. Frank Warren himself was in the thick of it. That was genuine. I've seen some fake ones, and we've both seen fake ones over the last 30 years. That was a genuine one today, and there was a lot of energy exerted in that type of thing. It's not like a guy we're going to talk about later on, Bernard Hopkins, who just likes... Yeah, they got a pay-per-view behind me.
Yeah, but they've got the wrong fighter on there. I've just noticed it still says Cleverly and Bellew.
They're very busy at Sky today. And if we can plug them, we can give them a little kick as well. But we're going to talk later on about a guy called Bernard Hopkins. This is what he does for a living, this kind of stuff, spitting on flags, that type of stuff. But he winks as he leaves the stage. Not Cleverly, not Bellew. They were both taken off separately, surrounded by a cordon of people, not to get involved. Can we just do one thing, just before we move on to the gal? Mike, if Braehmer was still fighting Cleverly, okay, we wouldn't have mentioned Cleverly or Braehmer yet. In fact, we might have gone the entire hour without mentioning them. And you might have said right at the end, Elliot, about 10:29, you would have said, and of course, there is another undercard, there is another fight, WBO title fight. Am I right?
But if it was Nathan Cleverly against Alexei Kuziemski, we'd have gone past 10:30 before we.
But if it was Tony Bellew originally against Nathan Cleverly, then we would have had Tony Bellew in the phone. We'd have had our own beat button. So trust me, we're lose-lose-win.
Well, listen, if you're not doing the pay-per-view thing, which why would you? Then you can listen to it. Mike will be here on 5 Live Sports Extra from 10:30 on Saturday night. Nathan Cleverly against
Alexei Kuziemski, and on 5 Live is James DeGale against George Groves.
Okay, at 8 minutes to 10, this is how it stands.